the Atlanta Falcons, who, for a team that has a very different look to it at head coach and quarterback, actually is a relatively unchanged roster other than the head coach and the quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is very weird to be saying that. Of course, obviously, the big story of the offseason for Atlanta was, all right, you give Kirk Cousins $100 million, and then you flip around and you inexplicably take Michael Penix in the top 10. Where, all right, you're conflicting.
And cause massive panic throughout the draft.
It's conflicting views of what you are.
Yeah.
I know Terry Fontenot after the fact is like, oh, we might never get the quarterback we like again. All right, well, you give Kirk Cousins 3 years, $100 million. You're hoping Kirk Cousins playing all 3 years at a high level.
My other question with that is, what on earth was your plan then? Because it's not like Michael Penix wasn't going to be there at 8.
He was always going to be there.
He was always going to be there at 8. You could have been planning for this without having to say, hey, let's get a $200 million insurance policy and Kirk Cousins here.
It's very strange. It's one of the weirdest draft picks in NFL history.
Yeah.
To say the very least. They do lose Calais Campbell, which is important, even though Campbell at the age of 37 still very impactful on that defensive end.
That's a time when you start saying, okay, it's okay that we're letting this guy out the door.
It's fine. And then, of course, departures. Again, Desmond Ridder out. Part of Atlanta last year. Atlanta was a very popular bet on this desk last year between Alex and I, where her numbers always had Atlanta higher than the market, better than the market would say. I thought the Falcons, talent-wise, outside of the quarterback position, were clearly the best team in the NFC South and actually had the ability with real quarterback play to maybe even win a playoff game or two. Now, it is Kirk Cousins off an Achilles tear, which is a big question mark. It is a new offense for Kirk Cousins as well. It's also Raheem Morris, this is his second go-around as a head coach. It did not go well in Tampa Bay at all.
No.
Now, granted, that's almost a decade ago now, so if there's some hope that Raheem learned from his mistakes in Tampa Bay and has learned even more and is now maybe wasn't ready to be a head coach at that point and now is ready to be a head coach. You saw it on the bottom of our screen at the beginning. The Falcons are over $2 to make the playoffs on the yes right now behind us.
That's pretty absurd.
To win the division, you're laying minus 110. So they are favored.
Yeah.
You're laying a price. Their win total's 9.5, which is a high win total.
Yeah.
Especially in that division that most of us think, hey, 9 might be good enough most years to win the NFC South, especially in the current form. So I'll just ask you this, Tom.
What did you say their odds to make the playoffs were?
It was -2. Just throw it back up. Yeah, -220.
Okay. I thought you said plus 220, and I was very confused.
No,
confused.
Laying the yes.
Gotcha.
Laying the yes.
Yeah.
Which is, Tom, that's still a significant price on the yes at -220, especially with a quarterback who's nearing 40 coming off of an Achilles tear.
I'd be inclined to go to the no.
Yeah, I would only bet the no at that price.
Yeah, I don't think I look at the unabated season simulator that we've got. Yeah, like you said, 9.5, but you can find them at 9.5 plus 120.
Yeah.
DraftKings really interesting. 11.5 on the win total here. I'm assuming that's got to be updated.
That's got to be an alt, right?
There's got to be something going on with that because that's an absolutely bonkers number to have put up there. But
that's got to be an alt.
Yeah, because the under's at like -310. That's an alt.
That's an alt.
But 9.5, the simulator says it should be around even money both ways at 9.5. And instead, we've got plus 120 on the under. And the other thing is, Derek Carr has been around the block. Like, he's not a bad quarterback down in New Orleans. They have the potential. The Saints absolutely still have the potential. You've still got some fantastic pieces down there. If there's another team that I trust to put it together, it's probably going to be the Saints here. Although Tampa also.
This is a weird division.
It's the weirdest division because
division.
This was a division last year we were looking at and saying, well, no one can fight their way out of a paper bag. Let's face it, it's not going to be. If it's the Panthers, we got bigger problems because pigs are flying.
Carolina, we'll get Carolina later this week.
Yeah.
Carolina's still power rated for me as the worst team in the NFL yet again.
I don't think that is at all bad.
And it's really not even. There are some teams you could argue. I know that the market disagrees with me on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can argue Denver is also close to Carolina in the way of being bad. I know New England, the market. I know the market is very low on the Patriots as well. I think Carolina's on their own at 32. I don't think there's.
I think the thing that the thing that gives you any help there is the fact that Carolina gets to play in this division.
Well, of course.
And
we're not betting them at 10-1.
No.
We're not advocating that. It's just that when you look at the main reason I'm bringing Carolina up now more so than anything is because you have to look at these division opponents for Carolina, Atlanta especially, where you have 2 games you're going to win.
Yeah.
And 2 games you're going to be pretty significantly favored in. They also get Carolina week 18. So if they need the game week 18, that's the best draw humanly possible, like we saw with Tampa last year, where Tampa played an absolute stink bomb in week 18 and still won the game.
Yeah.
Because Carolina was beyond horrible in that game. So more so than anything, looking at Atlanta's schedule, look, that start is not easy.
No.
Start is not easy. You're getting Pittsburgh at home, where Atlanta's favored in that game, but maybe the demons of past for the Falcons are gone. But that screams Russell Wilson plays well in his Steeler debut, and Atlanta loses 27-23.
I really
something
think
like that for sure is in play.
You can't really trust this Falcons team yet. Like, we haven't seen them do anything. Everyone's buying into the hype because of the fact that they're the only team in that division that looks mostly competent. But when you take them out of that division and say, okay, well, let's go play some other teams here, that's an 0-3 start staring you down the barrel. If you lose to the Saints, you could potentially, let's face it, at the best, you're 1-2 going into that matchup with the Saints.
I don't know if I'm willing to go that far for one reason, Tom, because they are favored week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Again, I did pick Philly to win the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
I did. But Philly's going to be coming off of that weird trip to Brazil, playing on a Monday, their home opener on a Monday night. By the way, Kirk Cousins has now played in Philadelphia in primetime 3 straight years in week 2 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Great. And in week 3, if Kansas City, as we've learned with this Chiefs team, they're either going to get out to 9-0 or they're going to look poor early in the year.
They might look poor early in the year, but
the game is at home. Atlanta's more than talented enough to play with Kansas City in that game, and it's close. You never know. But here's the problem, though.
It also is a Kirk Cousins primetime game. I'm just saying. You
true.
Can't actually bet on that, but.
By the way, Tom, and it's funny we bring this up, and by the way, this is all leading to me saying that I like Atlanta under their win total the best of anything with this team.
Yeah.
Even though 4 of their first 5 games are at home, and they're going to be favored in 3 of those 4, I don't trust them to go better than 2-2 in those home games. Because they're going to lose one of those games. Kansas City, they're a dog in.
Yeah.
But they're going to lose one of those 3 games that they are favored in.
And I think the Steelers is an entirely reasonable game to lose. Yeah. Yes, both teams
Mike Tomlin week 1 also is an underdog. We know Mike Tomlin is an underdog is great.
Yeah, but both teams here are dealing with new quarterbacks, but one team is dealing with a brand new offensive system, and one team brought a quarterback into an existing system that still has a very good defense.
Well, remember, Tom, Arthur Smith is now the offensive coordinator.
Oh, God.
Up in Pittsburgh.
The Arthur Smith revenge game.
So you have the Arthur Smith. They're very good. The Arthur Smith revenge game. Yeah, there we go. Stumbled onto something good there.
Look, excited as I am to see George Pickens as the lead blocker for 3 Jalen Warren touchdowns, let's face it, they're going to find a new running back to use because Arthur Smith can't use his weapons. But still, I'm inclined to go with the Steelers in that week 1 matchup.
I was going to say Fast Willie Parker is going to come back. He'll be the running back. I will say this, though, Tom, before we finish up here. If the Falcons survive the early portion of the schedule, after that week 9 home game against Dallas, that right side of your screen on the schedule, at New Orleans, at the Broncos, the Chargers at home, off the bye, at the Vikings, at the Raiders, the Giants, at the Commanders, the Panthers, I think I had max mentioned 1 potential playoff team.
Yeah.
So if they survive, and get through the first 7 games at over 500.
Yeah.
And if somehow they get through the first 9 at over 500, I might as well rip up my under 9.5.
Yeah.
Because if they get through the first half alive and well, they're going to win double-digit games. Because the back end of that schedule is very, very manageable, even with a bunch of road games more road than home on the back end.
The hardest game you're playing is the Chargers at home off a bye.
I think actually you're going to laugh at me. I think the hardest game
if you say the Raiders, I'm walking out of here.
Is Week 10 in New Orleans.
Yeah,
that's the toughest game because it's a divisional game rivalry, as we know that. I also don't think the Raider game will be that easy because
I think the Raiders are going to be terrible.
We'll get to the Raiders later when we get to the AFC West.
Yeah.
I have a ton of questions about that offense.
Yeah.
I think that defense is going to be really good. But they might have New York Jets issues where that defense is just so on the field so much that by week 15 it might be out of gas.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all plays out. Falcons under is the play for me, even though
I'm going the same.
Even though under 9.5 is the bet, I do expect them to still win the division. Mm-hmm. I think 9-8 is good enough to win the division.
Definitely.
But I don't like them to go over that win total.
I think if I'm taking a division winner, I might look to the Saints or the Buccaneers here.
Oh, okay.
Like, I just don't know that I trust this Atlanta team, and it feels so chalky. It feels so chalky to just be looking and saying. Chalk
doesn't usually work in this division unless if Tom Brady's playing quarterback for Tampa.
Exactly. Then it makes things a lot easier for you. But hey, who knows? Maybe we're in the middle of the Baker song.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Parles.
And I'm Alex White. Thank you for watching this clip of Sports by the Book. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe.
We live stream the show right here every day on this channel. Also, you can catch the podcast version on your favorite podcast platform.
All the links are in the description below. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.